Welcome to The Grind, and today we're talking Call of Duty. Our guests today are Bricey, Madcat and Black. How you doing, boys?
Very well, actually. I'm pleased to be here.
Pleased to be here, feeling good?
Yeah. Good.
Love that, good stuff. So Gfinity is 3 days away, and given the fact there's sort of no other event of its kind in the UK, it's the first of its kind in the UK, how important do you think it's going to be for the development of esports?
Development of esports has already been, some big tournaments, but this is, I've been raving about this. This is almost my hometown. I live very close to London. It's going to be something that we can be proud of in the scene. I mean, I've had it before, UK esports a little bit behind in some areas, but everything that's been set up so far for Gfinity, just like I said, incredibly proud is the way I keep putting it. I just keep beaming. I'm like, yes, this is going to be brilliant. And that's exactly what we need in the scene at the moment.
Just to take it on a stage.
Yeah, it's one of them things that we've been to do events. I've been to a few events, around Europe and in the UK. But this is something that, like I said, we've got Americans coming over. I know quite a few of the Americans, and it's just something you'll be proud of, you know what I mean? Just to be involved and to hold it up as like a pinnacle of esports in this country.
Fair enough. And what about you two boys as players, as talented players? What do you think it can do for esports in the UK?
I personally think it could explode it. Being to America myself, the professionalism out there is top notch, and in Europe at the moment, I believe it's just not up to par to what it should be. But seeing an event like this come along, I believe it can really boost that professionalism that we need. We need people to understand this is a proper sport. We do take it seriously. We can earn money, and the scale of it is going to be big. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, really.
Good stuff. And what about you, Mac?
I feel like in the UK we've not had a big tournament as of yet. Teams have been putting like major practice into this tournament, so it's going to be like a real time for people to actually prove themselves at a big scale and earn a big amount of money. So
it's fair to say that a successful Gfinity event could really put esports on the map in the UK.
You know what? I'd completely agree with that point. Simply because if you look at you're trying to show people outside of the sport what it is. That's always the hardest thing for people to get. It always has been. We've already have to fight off stereotypes of gamers and everything. And then if you hold up some events and they're failing in various aspects, or it just looks like it's in a dungeon somewhere and it doesn't look like professionally done.
Like this,
yeah, well, kind of like here, funny enough. But if you can hold up something and show people, and they go, "Wow, look at that!" Just that sense of hype and awe. Then that will just push the scene on, because it's not about showing people who are already in the scene that it's fantastic, because they live and breathe it. They're so passionate already.
They get it.
They get it. It's about people outside the scene, and once you get more and more people, it grows. You think the community, everybody originally wasn't a gamer. You didn't come out the womb with a controller in your hands. You didn't start playing games competitively straight off the bat. So it's a progression into the esports world, and it needs an example to hold up.
And what about the actual events themselves, boys? Have you seen them really sort of change and develop over time, or has it been something that you feel is still yet to massively improve in order for everything to kind of really go through the roof?
It's changed a lot from, I'd say, about 3 years ago. It was very unorganised, very small community. But it's still sort of like that today. I mean, the community's got bigger and we get more teams, but it still seems to be very unorganised. You wait around for hours, and when you look at things like MLG, it's on point, the rules are strict, and I think that's what people need, that obedience almost, for players to understand, how important it is to, make sure you're on time and not take the mick, really. And that's what I think Gfinity is good at. I mean, the schedule's already out, groups are out, and I just think that sort of professionalism, again, is what is needed.
So as the events themselves develop, there's the responsibility on the people that put those events on. So Gfinity is as one example, but there's also the responsibility on the players and the teams to make sure that they help push that development of those events by competing in the right way, behaving in the right way.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree with that. Yeah, you've got to... trash talking is a big subject, but I believe, you should be professional. There's obviously banter, I don't really like that word, but it's going to come. But if you keep it, don't let it get out of hand, because it just looks bad for sponsors. Obviously, we all want to be a good profile, we want to be represented well, and we need to build profiles, like you say. And if people are looking at us trash talking, it's just going to make generations of gamers just come out bad, and that could maybe kill esports, because you don't want to see a bunch of kids in a room shouting at each other across the screen. That's not what we do. So
you're kind of happy with the fact that as long as it's kind of competitive,
definitely,
and it's just kind of in the moment, and it doesn't get out of hand, so no swearing, no personal abuse, anything like that.
It's not needed.
So just focusing on the trash talk element quickly then, is it something that is a fundamental part of the game that you think adds to it, or is it something that kind of takes away from it?
I believe it's people get trash talk and motivation mixed up a lot. I mean, there's a thing where obviously you want to have motivation. Everyone does it. Every sport, football, rugby, everyone shouts and you want to get your team, you know, in the game. But people get that mixed up with thinking doing personal insults that are not needed and out of hand is not motivating. Right. That's just, you know, slating someone. So I think people need to understand that balance, really. Okay,
Madcat, when you're in the midst of a really sort of tight match, you're being given some stick from across the table, but you kind of get a bit of revenge on someone. Is it really hard to avoid the temptation to stand up and put them in their place?
Yeah, it's one of them situations where you got to give them back as much as they give you. So when you're in a situation where you're on the back foot, you're getting pushed back, but then out somewhere you kind of take the victory. You literally just got to give them just as good as they get, but you got to give it to a certain degree. Right. You can't go overboard. Yeah. You need to keep some kind of professionalism. It's like, for me personally, I keep it motivation at the moment. Like, before I used to take it overboard, but now it comes to a point where you need to think of your players. Like, your players don't want to hear you screaming down the mic every minute. So you need to keep them pumped and yourself pumped. So you need to keep it at sort of a point where everyone benefits from it.
So there's a fine balance.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we said, the Gfinity event is only 3 days away now, and we've got the big teams coming over, the big North American teams. How do we stop them walking away with the title?
It's going to come down to the mindset of European players. I mean, a lot of people, we said it's frowned upon almost to say that you do gaming, and people are quite shy about it. I myself, it's not the first thing I'll say to someone, but after I get to know someone, I'm happy to say, and obviously they're interested and, you know, kind of shocked. But that's the thing with the Americans, their mindset is they're so motivated and dedicated and will do anything to go that little bit further. They will go that extra mile, and I think that's hard to find out in Europe, to find 4 people that are going to be the same mindset, same like all the chemistry that you need. And I just think they've just got that edge on us, and I don't know. If they're people capable of doing it, it's just if they're going to come together and actually do it.
Well, Madcat, you've done it. You've been part of a team that's beaten an American side. What do you think made the difference that day? You just did it. We went into it and we beat them.
I think this...
Did that give you a load of confidence, though, to know that, you know, being the first European-based team to actually go and beat an American team, did that give you the confidence to actually think you could go on another level?
Yeah, like, it was like a big thing for me, beating an American team. Like, previously we lost against the same team, 2 finals in a row and we got smashed. So like, it was a third-time lucky thing, and we just turned up and play a better game than them. But like, American teams are beatable. Like, you can see every flaw in every team, but he's doing the homework and the background work to find out what them flaws are and just work their flaws. And if you get their error and you work on their error so bad that it becomes a big error, and then they start falling apart, then you can just absolutely annihilate them after.
And again, so close to Gfinity, all the teams that are coming over are high quality. We've got some excellent players, so let's get down to it. Who's going to do well?
I'd say complexity. After just winning MLG, they're also going to be on a massive high, so I think they might storm the event. And the competition's not going to be as hard, and they seem to smash it at the last.
What do you mean the competition's not going to be as hard? Because we've got all the top teams.
We have got the top teams, but I think you haven't got, like MLG's on like hundreds of teams, when this one's just a small 10. I mean, yeah, it's still the best caliber teams in the world, but I think MLG is more endurance, more consistent. You've got to be on it all the time, so that's where I just think.
Okay, Bricey, what about you, mate? Who's going to win it?
I just kind of want to see Impact versus Complexity again, and I can't think of anyone who wouldn't. You know what was a shocker for me? I want to see Envy, because I kind of tipped them a couple of weeks back to, the game everyone wants to see, Impact versus Envy again, but they didn't really show up to the last event. So I'm hoping that they're just going to get on it for the next 2 weeks, and after the last event, and really turn up, because admittedly it's kind of a bad thing to say, and I hate saying it, but the Americans at the moment, the NA lineup coming over, are going to do very well here, and I know a lot of the Europeans are worried that the European teams won't even come in the top 4. That's how bad it is. So you've got to put the Americans up there at the moment. You're just hoping that home ground, it's in the capital, it's in London. It does count for something. It definitely does. Home ground counts for something, because you can only look at past case history. When the Americans have come over here, they've won events, they've done well, but not as well as they have done when we've gone over there. When Europeans have gone over to America, famously just struggled a bit, and they shouldn't have done. I mean, we've beaten them on homegrown, so it is, because COD is such a, can be such a mental game, a momentum game. You take these people out of their comfort zone, it is going to matter a little bit. So there could possibly be an upset.
To see whether
I am going to see if home soil plays a little bit of a thing, especially with the previous event being so close.
Yeah.
So I am hoping the Europeans can do it. Like I said, I am still a fan at heart.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's going to be close to call, but at the moment you have to give it slightly to the Americans.
All right, and who's your money on that?
I think there's like 3 teams that like really shine out for me. It's like complexity. Obviously, they just won MLG, so they're on a big high. They want to get the 2-piece LAN event wins. But then again, Impact, like they just want to get their revenge. I think MLG for them, that was like. They weren't on their game. They was doing different things every night. Like they was just drinking, so it was kind of that was off.
So you think if they actually came and were a bit more professional, a bit more consistent, you think they might be the team to watch again?
Yeah, I think like they just didn't at professional at MLG, they just didn't care. I think they just got too egotistical, and like complexity gave them that wake up call they needed. And then I think Envy are going to come back strong as hell. I think. MLG was a wake-up call for them as well, so I think they're going to come back strong again.
But what about Optic? I mean, I know that they've by far and away they seem to be the most popular team in the world. But what are they going to do at Gfinity?
Brand. However, the last event, they just don't seem to stand up well to the top 2 teams at the moment. That's not something you would say last year.
Right.
As soon as they Impact played Optic again, I said, it's going to be a whitewash. Impact are just going to ruin them, and they did. And it's weird to see because people are like, oh, better with Rambo. But Nature has actually had a really good few of events. So it's not that. It's just, it's got to be that thing. Eventually teams will put the practice in and just win it on the day. And Optic at the moment, like I said, it's so close at the top there, anybody could win it. Optic at the moment, maybe not as on form as they could be. I don't know what it is. I mean, I heard they were a little bit under practice for the last event. That's just a rumour I heard. I don't know if you guys heard that at all. But maybe, I mean, they've just got the new gaming house. So if they can get in some serious work, I mean, that is serious work. If you're sitting next to a guy all day, every day for 2 weeks, that's first quality practice. You can't beat that kind of practice.
Okay. And obviously with the European teams there as well, like Madcat, obviously you play for Epsilon, who aren't at the event sadly because of the age limit. But if one European team's going to cause an upset, who would your money be on?
He doesn't want to say any of them.
If I had to put my money down on one team, it'd be Curse, just pure to their history and they have that. What word would I call it?
So you just think that they've got a bit of a track record where if they actually come together, they're veterans. If they come together and they're all playing well at the same time, you think they might be able to pull something off?
I think they've just got the history behind them. They know how to win. They've got players that have won events before. They know how to win. If they just play their game and turn up without getting nervous, they'll just wreck it. I reckon they've just got 4 players that consistently play well, and that they've just got that chemistry. They all get along. I don't think any team get along as well as they do when they're really getting going. So I think Curse can definitely show up.
Okay, but then there are some people that say that Curse might be one of the teams that struggles. So there are some people that aren't that confident in Curse performing at Gfinity. So why do you think that is first and foremost?
Well, I don't think we're the 4. We're good at what we do. We're top players, but we're not top of our field. There is people like Madcat that would be better than us individually. Don't get me wrong, he's a great player, and there's other people out there. So we're not 4. A lot of teams have 4 individually great players, but we're just a team that is 4 good players, but rely on our strats and our game to win us games. And we're always choke team. We do bad online where we practice. We're the whipping boys, we call it. Everyone just destroys us and gets them confident, and we're like, okay, we know we're not going to win online, but like I said, we went EGL 5 and 7 with Madcat, and we was like the choke team and came second both times. Yeah, we've had the 2 last bad events, but I mean, we've got that potential and ability to prove people wrong, and we've done it.
It's not about lacking the ability to go into the latter stages of the tournament and push, other teams right to the wire. Yeah. Is it a case of when you get to those points, there's an issue with coping and cracking under the pressure?
Maybe coping and cracking, but it might just be that team maybe right. Yeah, it's just they did better on that day. Like we played the last event and we played Cloud, now and there's Epsilon now, and went last round on S&D. It could have went either way, and unfortunately we lost by an airstrike. But you know, it's that little things like the last.
You don't have to look so smug.
But that's what I mean. You know, anything can happen in Call of Duty, and I still believe if we would have won that game, we would have been like top 6. I don't think Epsilon would have happened. They would have not have stayed together. I don't think they would have been annoyed that they got beaten by us. I know that for a fact.
Would you have been annoyed?
Yeah.
Would Epsilon have happened?
Nah.
This is why, because people underestimate us and they'd be like, we shouldn't have get beaten by them, and we was the closest team to beat them at EGL, and yeah, everyone says we're bad, we shouldn't be at this event, that's their opinion, but our track record's great. You know, we've got players that have won like 4 out of the EGLs, come second, we've been MLG, I've been COD XP, you know, we've got players that have been there and done more than what most people could ever
it's quite clear to me that, you know, just even that question gets you fired up, and I get the impression you're looking forward to proving some people wrong.
Yeah, and I always want to be the best. I mean, I started a few years ago and I was at the top straight away, and I was there for a while, and now it's
as you do.
Yeah, like you do, and now it's got a bit downhill. So you know, I want to get back. I know we have the potential. That's the most annoying thing. You know, you can see it every day. You come on, you're like, we should be doing better. Why are we not? And yeah, we just want to prove people wrong.
So come the end of Saturday night, it's the end of the group stages. 2 teams are going home. Cards on the table. Who are they?
I had a gentleman's bet with Madcat beside me.
Strange that you would call that a gentleman's bet, considering maybe you're a gentleman.
Ruffian's bet.
Ruffian's bet.
It's going to be very difficult though, like I said, because of COD being what's called an on-the-day thing. Any team that turns up, I actually had a gentleman's bet that I think Ozone are going to be one of them teams to leave. They're good. I just don't think they're quite at the calibre that everyone else at this tournament is at. The other team is incredibly too close to call for me. It could be any one of about 5 teams.
Name one.
There's only 5 teams in the group.
Name one.
If you want to say us, you can say us, because I know you want to.
No, I said
just say it.
Fine, you.
Go on, it's fine. Go on,
so Bryce, you're saying Ozone and Curse are going home?
Ozone, I definitely, like I said, I put money on it. So, Curse, like I said, it's an on day that I said. The thing is with Curse, is like he said, they have potential. They have that, you know, European champions. They have that ability to just sit there and go, just lost a map, and not lose their head to the next one. Or if they're losing behind, they can come back. In fairness, when, you know, they used to be, you know, ex-European champions and all that, they were known as the grind team. They would literally just grind out, and people said it was so frustrating to play against them. So because they could just literally hang out a 1-0, you know, flag cap, or they could just sit there and defend and just get another flag back. Very irritating to play against. So they've always had that passive, controlled attitude, and that could count for an incredible amount on the day. So I said, the rest of them, very difficult to judge who's going to, you know, you need to see who's going to turn up. We haven't had an event for a little while now. So, you know, there's been a few changes about in teams, and
well, so that's got to be good for the Gfinity event then, because not only we is it totally unclear about who can win it, because the favourites aren't just sort of 1 or 2 teams who are quite clearly 4 and maybe 5, but we're also not really entirely sure about who's actually going to exit the competition early, because that is also so tight. So Madcat, who do you think is going to go home?
I'd put my money on Unite Gaming. I don't think they're a strong team. I think it's just 4 people that don't have the same personality and not all on the same level, and personality clashes. Like if you watch their streams, they're all clashing, all arguing, not on the same pace. Like their strategies are all over the place. So I can see them going out. I can see Giants doing like relatively good. I can see them just doing a couple of upsets because no one plays them online. No one knows how they play. So they could just turn up and do some unknown strategy that would just wipe everyone out. So I think they're
a bit unpredictable.
Yeah, they're unpredictable because no one knows how they play. And the other team, I would put my money on TCM Gaming. I think face-to-face, put them on a station next to another team, they'll crack under the pressure. But you put them in 2 solid soundproof booths and they'll do absolutely amazing. But it's just the fact that they crack under pressure.
Right, okay.
So,
and you think, obviously, because of the format of the way that people will be facing each other, you think that's going to go against them?
Yeah.
Okay, and what about you, mate?
I think Giants, but I agree with Madcat, no one really plays them, so they could have some upsets, but they look like the obvious choice. And in our group, it's hard to say. It's between both American teams will get through regardless, but it's going to be close between us. I don't want to say myself because I'm confident.
Good.
But at the same time, I'm quite a realist, so I don't always count myself out. But it's just going to be close. Whoever plays better on the day is going to do it. We've got a few more days to practice, so hopefully we can get up to par, really. So
goal number 1, survive. Goal number 2, progress.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, so we've spoken about which teams we think are going to do well and which teams we think are going to flop. Let's move to the players, the individual players themselves. Which players come to mind about really setting the event alight and doing really, really well?
It's kind of an easy choice for this one, a little bit of a cop-out. I want Clayster, really, or Slayster, as he's been known recently. He didn't have a great World Championships, and some people blame the Europeans, but it didn't look like he had a great tournament. And then when he was playing with Complexity recently, it just seemed incredible. I mean, he had a good event previous to World Championships, which is why everyone was so surprised. And then obviously just shown that he is still an incredible player. So I think keep an eye on Clayster because he's just won a massive tournament, so I think he's going to be pumped for this one. Okay.
Madcat, what about you?
I'm going to focus on the TCM lineup, especially because their players just come in my mind. I'd say Rich just performs when he's in his zone. He just goes off, like you can't touch him. He'll outgun anyone when he's on the zone, and he just play phenomenal. But then they let down with Marky B. He's so inexperienced, and he just isn't good enough to be in a top team. So,
why is that? Is it just his lack of experience, or is it actually he just doesn't have the ability?
He's got a lack of experience. Like he's come like top 24 for like, the past 9 events, and then but he's awful. Like he hasn't got the gun skill, and he hasn't.
Very nice.
Well, it's honesty.
Oh, no, just leave it there. I don't have to rip him so much.
All right, okay. And who's going to be your sort of top tip for player of the event?
It's got to be Scumpy. He is the best, and he done it at MLG. I heard. I didn't get to watch a lot of Optic, but I heard he was single-handedly destroying everyone. And when I played against him, he's been their best player. So he just has that consistency. So I reckon it'll be him. Okay,
and then presumably there are so many characters involved, so many personalities involved. Are there any players in particular that you find really irritating?
Well, that's kind of shots fired everywhere, isn't it? I don't have any major problem with any of the players coming to this event. There are a few other ones that I have problems with. It's more, some people can just go too far on the day. I've seen it before, and we spoke about trash talk earlier on. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of thing, and it's always going to be part of the game to an extent, but you've got to realise now that some of these players are role models for younger kids. And I've seen it at events, I've just been shaking my head to some of these little kids. That's when a player will annoy me, or when their ego gets too big, or when they're just being disrespectful to other people. Yeah. Other than that, I seem to find that the top players, are just really sound guys, most of them. It's when you go a little bit below that, just that top extra, then you really get the people you don't like.
Okay, so you tend to find that the guys that sort of operate at the top level,
largely
tend to be professional.
They've been there for a little while now, so they're all quite good friends. So it just doesn't cut it anymore. You can't be that kind of guy. So they're all, they are all kind of nice guys. And they'll all get along. You see them, give it to each other in game or after game, and then you'll see them just, at a bar having a drink together, and it'll be like, it's because they're all, adults essentially.
Yeah. What about you guys? Obviously playing. Is there anyone that drives you mad?
I'll go for Clayster. Like he just stands up and just gives so much crap talk. And I just think if I was playing against you, I'd just shut you down straight away. It'd be a joke. I just haven't got that chance yet.
The best.
Fair enough. What about you?
I say AA. As I don't really know him that well, or I do, but I do. But obviously, anyway. But I think after watching him at the COD qualifiers,
European.
They just go too overboard. Literally pointing, shouting, swearing, all in French. Can't understand them anyway, so it's a bit pointless. But it just looks embarrassing, and it's so cringy to watch these people. I mean, it's good to be passionate, but then when they're all patting their chest, and it's just calm down. We're all friends. At the end of the day, we're all the same. We all love gaming. We all have something in common. So why slate each other so bad that you don't want to be friends with them afterwards? Obviously, me and Madcat a lot have argue about who's better and this and that. But at the end of the day, we're really good mates, and we just let it go. But after watching them, they think they're the best, and they just annoy me how It's not so much Carthago as the other guys. It's just really annoying to watch.
Okay, fair enough. And I suppose it's probably a good point just to point out that at Gfinity there's a very clear line being drawn, but there's no swearing, there's no personal abuse. Yeah, the friendly banter and the stuff just to get everyone hyped is fine, but you know, if it goes too far, the yellow cards start coming out, the red cards start coming out. So, and what about all these amazing players that we've got coming to Gfinity? Do you think one of them might flop that is expected to do well?
I don't know. It's hard to say because obviously these are meant to be the top teams, so everyone's got to be consistent. You can't. Someone's going to have a bad day, but I think it's really hard to call. I wouldn't even know.
I think it will come down to like over in America they take a lot of Adderall, and that plays a big part into the gaming. Like you see them on the main stage, and you can tell who's been on it and who's not. Okay. So, like over here, I don't think players will have that access to it, and I think like they won't be as concentrated as they do when they play like big events like COD Champs and MRG.
Okay, fair enough. And then just to finish off, I want to know from each of you who's going to win it and who's going home. Who's the best, who's the worst team of the event? So one from each of you, please.
I'm going to say Complexity will win and Giants will be the ones going home.
Cool. Madcat?
Impact to win and Unite to go home first.
I'm actually agreeing with Black and to say Complexity to win and Giants to go home.
Excellent. Thanks very much for
Right.
joining us today. All the information is on the Gfinity website, that's gfinity.net. That's where you can find out where to tune in live. All the action is on the 13th and the 14th of July. You've heard what these boys have said. You've heard the hype. There is not 1 second of it to be missed, and you won't miss any of it because every second of it is live. So, gfinity.net, we'll see you there.